Many parents today are afraid that their children will rebel against them, that if they come on too strong with their faith or with their values, that their children are actually going to push back, feel controlled, and go a completely different way. And so we feel squeamish and uncertain and doubtful about giving our children any life guidance whatsoever. But in today's masterclass, I'm going to show you 3 crucial steps to take from early childhood all the way through to tweens and teens in order to raise children who actually appreciate you as a leader, who look up to you for guidance, who see you as a trusted source of information, and who actually want to recreate the home life that you've built. I don't know about you, but I have this hope and dream for the future that my children, after they maybe go off and study and do some travel, eventually want to settle back, hopefully nearby us, and allow my husband and I to be involved grandparents in their children's lives. I know it sounds a little bit archaic and outdated or even taboo to even say such a thing. Like, who am I to say that I hope my children live near me and have kids and want me to be an involved grandma? But I do. I want my children to carry on our way of life. I hope that they actually live out our values in their own unique, personalized way. I hope that we give them a good pathway to a meaningful and purpose-filled life, to satisfying relationships, to productive work, to a healthy lifestyle. So how can we do that without making our children feel that we are forcing it on them, that we're controlling them, that we're molding them and shaping them, or that we're somehow very authoritarian and oppressive? Today, I'm going to share a 3-step process that is going to allow you to build the type of relationship that makes your child kind of rebellion-proof, makes your child want to recreate the type of lifestyle that you live, and maintains your relationship and bond in the long term. So if we haven't met yet, hello, I'm Avital. I'm the mother of 5, I'm the founder of HiFam, and I run an online membership called The Studio with thousands of members worldwide from over 100 countries around the world, where I teach you how to become the leader that you deserve to be and that your children deserve, and build the strong family culture that is going to give them resilience and common sense and values. And if that sounds good to you, then this masterclass is a taster of the type of coaching and content and community that I can offer you inside of the studio. You can check it out at hifam.com/studio, but just be aware that we only open once a year and that the price that is being offered right now will never be offered again. So if you want to lock that in, make sure to jump on that today. I'll tell you more about that at the end. I'm also opening my coaching calendar, which is something that I never do, to free calls. If you want to get on a call with me, if you have some questions about things I'm going to share here today, and you'd like me to personalize it and tailor it to your specific situation with your child, make sure to look out for that link and make sure to get on those calls, because my coaching calendar is normally jam-packed full, and these sessions are worth upwards of $300 each. You can get it for free only right now so that I can show you the type of results I can get you inside of the studio. And last but not least, I have a beautiful PDF guide that goes along as a companion for this masterclass so that you can just be present with me right now, just soak up the information. To get the PDF, the coaching calls, and to join the studio over on Instagram, make sure to DM me with the word leader. Just send me the word leader, telling me that you are ready to become the leader that your family needs and deserves, that you are ready to step into that leadership role, and I will send you all your goodies. By the end of this masterclass, I hope you walk away with crystal clear clarity on the type of home life that you need to build if you want to raise a child who ends up being an adult with common sense, with values, and who's rebellion-proof, who wants to carry on the incredible values that you have in your household. Now, what I'm about to share with you is relevant whether you have a 1-year-old or a 15-year-old. So let's get into it. Number 1, the foundation is trust. If you want your child to see you as a trusted source of information, as someone who's worth going to when they have a problem, when issues arise, when they have questions, as someone who can keep their secrets in confidentiality, who is honest and truthful, then you have to be building trust. This is why they say that parenting a 15-year-old starts when they're 5, because trust is very hard to build and very easy to break. And trust, of course, is a 2-way street. We want to build our children into trustworthy individuals as well. We want to show them that we really value it when they tell us the truth, even if the truth is uncomfortable or might even get them into a bit of trouble. We want to show them that we tell them the truth no matter what, even when it's uncomfortable to share. That is why I have the policy of never lying to children. It's okay to say, I'm not ready to talk about that right now, or I don't really know, or we'll talk about that when you're older, or I'm uncomfortable with this topic. Although I think it's much healthier to face difficult topics and actually share with them truthfully. And this goes for things that are hard to talk about, like sex or money or death. Children actually need to know that their parents are the trusted source of information, that they're the person to go to when they want real, honest answers with no fluff and no BS. If you don't give your children that, starting from an early age, then they will find it somewhere else. I know you probably had this experience, or someone you know did, where their parents didn't share with them, for example, something like how babies are made or what happens after you die. And instead, they had to find out this information the hard way, maybe reading it in the school library or hearing it from a bunch of their friends. And often the information that they can come across on their own is lower quality information or is just not true. Plus, that has positioned the parent as someone who is irrelevant in their lives, someone who isn't helpful, who isn't going to be a trusted source of information, who they can't go to because they won't get the answers and the information that they actually need. When we flip it around and look at the kid's perspective for a moment, being trusted also helps kids rise to the level of our expectations. Many parents today in our modern day era with gentle parenting and all the other parenting trends are actually lowering the expectations of their kids. They're hiding behind excuses about why their children can't handle certain things, can't take on accountability and responsibility, can't live up to higher expectations, and therefore we lower the expectations. But the truth is that when children are trusted to tell the truth, to do hard things, to rise to the occasion, they often do exactly that. They rise to our level of expectation. They need to feel trusted in order to feel that this is a secure, strong relationship and that you have their back and their best interests at heart. When we build this kind of trust, children know that we are in their corner no matter what, that we're on their team, that we're rooting for them, that their incentives and our incentives are actually perfectly aligned, that we want the best for them, and that we are a true guide that they can come to, both in times of crisis and confusion and just in regular life. It positions us as the perfect guide in their story. We're the Yoda to their Luke Skywalker. We're the Dumbledore to their Harry Potter. We're framed and branded as a wise sage who understands them and cares for them and actually would never lie or would never tell them an untruth. Trust opens the door to real conversation and real growth. And when kids trust us, they start to actually believe us when we tell them certain things. So this is going to be useful in the upcoming points, but you want to be someone who your child believes, who your child thinks makes sense, who your child thinks actually knows what they're talking about. And that's something that you establish piece by piece, slowly but surely throughout the years. So whether it's something as small as who ate my snack from the pantry, or something as big as confronting your child when they've been sneaking an iPad into their bedroom at night, trust and open discourse, open dialogue, really listening actively is the type of thing that builds that connection that allows children to see us as really relevant to their lives, as guides, as people that they look up to and that they care about our opinions. So what's your takeaway from this? Well, make sure that you never lie to your child, that you give them honest feedback and answers, that you are a reliable source of information. And by the way, if you need help crafting answers to sticky and uncomfortable questions about politics or money or dating, that's the type of thing that we tackle all of the time in the studio. In one of our coaching sessions in the studio, a mom came to me with a tough question. She told me that her 10-year-old had come home and told her that he had seen some pornographic content on TikTok on a friend's phone in school. He asked her questions about what they were doing and why. And she felt so awkward and flustered that she just dodged the questions altogether. She came to me saying, I don't feel like it's age appropriate. I don't want to be even seeing this stuff. And I don't know what to say. How do I explain these very difficult adult concepts to a 10-year-old? Her initial gut reaction was, should I just ignore it? Should I just brush it under the rug? Should I just pretend it never happened and hope that he never sees this stuff again? Or talk to the school and other parents about making sure that he's not exposed? And whilst it may be a good idea to limit exposure, the fact is that he already was exposed. And at 10, he already needs to know the basics of what sex and even what pornography is so that he can recognize it when he does inevitably come across it. I coached this mom on the scripts that she could use to share with her 10-year-old in an age-appropriate manner what he had been exposed to and what to do when he's exposed next time. Together, we equipped her and empowered her to feel that she was the leader in the situation and she was able to build trust with him. She told him honest answers. She said all the awkward parts out loud in a direct and honest way. And he learned a really important lesson that day. You see, if she'd have just continued to dodge those questions, he would have learned not to go to mom, that she was not useful, that she didn't give the real answers, and he would have gone elsewhere, back to TikTok, back to those friends at school. Instead, he learned that mom really knows a lot, that she actually knows what she's talking about, that she's a useful source of information, and that she's not going to let awkwardness or discomfort come between them and dismantle and break the trust that they had between them. So that strengthens the relationship tremendously. So I want you to think that instead of protecting and shielding your child from information, you become their safe, honest guide to help them through the complexities of the world. The second thing we're going to talk about is the atmosphere at home. I want you to create an inspiring culture. In another recent coaching session in the studio, one mom told me that her 12-year-old was invited to a video games night at his friend's on a Friday night. They were going to do video games all night and a sleepover with a midnight feast, and it sounded really fun. But the thing is that in their family, they had already established a campfire night ritual every Friday night. That's the kind of thing we do inside the studio. We establish regular family traditions to create memories and bonds and connections, and an opportunity to transfer our values and beliefs to our children. So they had this amazing magical campfire night. They would sing some family songs, they would roast marshmallows, and they would sit around the campfire with the kids, just relaxing and connecting. And her son was really torn because his friends were having this fun night, but so was the family. Ultimately, with a little bit of prompting from her, he decided to stay. He didn't want to miss the family connection and belonging. And this might surprise you because you might just think that teenagers and tweens just want to be with their friends, that their families embarrass them, that why would I even want to stay home? But that's only true if there isn't an inspiring, strong family culture in the home. That's when they start going looking for it elsewhere. You see, teenagers, actually more than anyone else, need to feel a sense of belonging. Let me just say that again, because many of us don't realize that. We think that teenagers only want independence. They just want to go off on their own and be a lone wolf and explore and experiment. But the truth is that more than ever, more than in the toddler years even, teenagers need to feel a sense of connection and belonging to you and to your family home. They need to feel that it's safe and enjoyable, that there's meaning and productivity, that there's connection, and a real inspiring culture inside the home so that they don't go exploring looking for it in all the wrong places. Now, it actually transpired that that video game night got pretty out of hand, with boys as young as 12 and 13 getting drunk and getting into quite a bit of trouble. So it was really wonderful that her son wasn't there for that event. But what was even more wonderful to this mother was to discover that her son wanted to be part of the family culture, even though there was something really exciting and alluring going on with his friends. Now, you might have had this experience. Maybe you had a kid in your class, maybe you were that kid who came from a really strong family culture. Maybe from a very clear religious culture, or maybe they were vegans, or maybe they had a very particular lifestyle. And that kid was able to withstand all sorts of peer pressures. Maybe they didn't go to the parties, or they didn't participate in the same way, or they said no to the drinks, or they said no to the promiscuity, because they had really clear, really strong values that they had received from home. But those values weren't forced on them. They weren't oppressive. They weren't actually put on them in a tyrannical manner, and they didn't abide by them out of fear. Many of us think that kids are only going to maybe dress more modestly or avoid hookup culture or say no to drugs if we're authoritarian about it, if we're scary, if we threaten them with punishments. But that's not the case at all. Kids are actually strengthened with a backbone to say no to all sorts of bad ideas when they know there's something better. This is the definition of self-discipline. It's when we say no to something we want, to say yes to something we want even more. And what these children want even more than partying with their friends in that moment is the sense of family belonging and culture. So you don't have to be an oppressive, authoritarian, scary drill sergeant parent in order to get your kids to want to be part of what you're building at home. You just have to build something worthwhile. It's the build it and they will come mentality. Create something that's wonderful, that feels good and connective, that makes sense, that is actually really inspiring, that they can look up to, and they will want to emulate that because it makes sense. I don't know about you, but I want my kids to look at me and think, oh, you know what? Mom and dad really have something figured out. They seem to be really happy in their marriage. They seem to be really healthy in their bodies. They seem to be doing productive work that brings them joy and financial stability. They seem to have a good group of friends and a great connection with their family. You know what? Maybe I should copy them. Maybe these old-fashioned adults have something to teach me after all. So yes, your kids will go off and explore and they'll be a bit experimental and they'll push back here and there and they'll do things their own individual way. Of course they will. But ultimately, if they see that you have life figured out, why would they want to just start from scratch? Why would they want to reinvent the wheel? Why would they want to just blank canvas their life if there's already a good pathway forward? Many of us are very worried that this becomes tyrannical or forceful or like collectivist, a one size fits all, like everyone has to just fit in. But no, you have a unique family culture. You have values. You have wisdom. You have a fully developed prefrontal cortex. You've learned some stuff in your life. And it would be so beneficial to your child to hand that over to them, to give it to them, to let them follow in your footsteps. Children today are more anxious and depressed than ever before. And part of that is that they don't feel a link to previous generations. They are being brought up to see themselves as those special, snowflake, unique individuals that have no ties, that have no responsibilities, that have no accountability, that have no obligations to the previous generation. They have nothing to learn from those old fuddy-duddies who don't understand anything in today's day and age. They should go off and invent themselves and discover themselves. I mean, just think about that language, discover yourself. Just how disempowering that is, as if there's some self somewhere hidden that you should just discover through an endless loop of self-help and self-development and growth. This idea that children today need to invent their identities. They need to constantly slap labels on themselves of their sexual orientation or their gender identity or their diagnostic labels in order to find themselves and discover their true self, rather than giving them a sense of real belonging to a family culture, which is how children have grown up for millennia. You belong to a tribe, you belong to a community, you belong to a family, and your siblings and your parents can really help you define who you are because you're part of something bigger than yourself. This is really protective in terms of mental health. Children who know where they come from, who know who they are, who know what they stand for, who know what kind of culture is expected of them in their families, who are infused with clear values and a strong vision, feel belonging. They feel inspired and they know who they are. They're not confused. And even though they're going to express all of that in their own idiosyncratic way, they still feel like they're part of a story that's bigger than themselves. And that really helps them on their way. And of course, that is part of rebellion proofing. When you have step number one, the trust, like they think you're a trustworthy individual, they believe what you say. And step number two, it's inspiring culture, like you are leading a life that is worth emulating. They are going to want to stay within that fold and to follow your path and your lifestyle. So you see, that mom didn't have to lock her son down from the video game party. She didn't have to forbid it or be oppressive with strict rules and punishments and threats. But she created an alternative that was actually more seductive and alluring. She enticed him with an incredible family culture that he wanted to be a part of because it feels good. It feels right. You know, we all have that internal deep sense of longing to sit around the campfire with our tribe. That's our, hunter-gatherer brains that want to connect on that level with others. And it doesn't have to be a campfire. That's just one of the projects that we do inside the studio. But it could be connecting over reading family albums, over our family roots and family tree, over a family dinner, or over a hike outdoors. All of these create the sense that we have something worth defending here, that we have something worthwhile, that we have a sense of belonging, that we have character and content to our family, that we know who we are and how we do things and how we move in the world and how we treat each other. It creates a sense of togetherness and meaning. But all of this is sometimes not enough to stand up to peer pressures and fads and trends. And that is why we actually do need step number three, which is the leadership. the active guidance. Even if you become a great, trustworthy source of information and you create an inspiring togetherness, teamwork atmosphere at home, your child is still exposed to all sorts of negative influences and ideas, whether it's online or in person, and they're going to be susceptible because teenagers are. They just really want to fit in. They really want to differentiate from their parents and be independent and experiment, and that's all normal and healthy. The trouble is that sometimes the experimentation that teenagers find really trendy and cool is not safe or is not healthy for them or actually goes against our values at home. Like teenagers sometimes want to experiment with drugs and alcohol or with promiscuity and hookup culture, or they want to experiment with being provocative and posing online and sharing too much information. It reminds me of one mother who came into a studio coaching session and asked me about her 11-year-old girl who wanted to wear hot pants, tiny, tiny shorts that shows off her butt cheeks just a little too much. And she said to me, I'm really not comfortable with this, but I feel like, who am I to say something? Who am I to judge? I don't want her to think I'm judging other people for dressing that way. I'm not some prude, I'm not the modesty police. And it's her body, so it's her choice. Should I even be telling her about this at all? And if I do tell her not to wear those tiny shorts, then isn't she just going to rebel and do it anyway? We broke this down and we discussed that, yeah, there are some things that we adults can see that teenagers can't see. Like, yes, we want to create an inspiring culture at home that just makes sense to them, that we don't even have to explain, that it's fun and it's meaningful and it feels good and it feels right. It feels healthy and it's good role modeling. And they just want to emulate that because they see the proof is in the pudding. But there are some things that they can't see. It's hard for a teenager to understand why they shouldn't wear tiny weeny shorts or little crop tops. It's hard for a teenager to understand why they shouldn't dance provocatively to sexy music and post it online for the world to see. It's hard for a teenager to understand why they can't spend hours in front of a screen playing violent video games all the time. These are the types of things that if everyone's doing it, why can't I do it too? And if I say no as a parent, am I just going to cause more rebellion? But here's where our firm leadership and guidance comes in. And the truth is, you know this already. You've done this already. There are certain areas of your parenting that are non-negotiable for you, that you are not susceptible to peer pressure, that even if your child says, but everyone else is doing it, you still hold firm because you have strong beliefs. I want to empower you with a clear vision for your family. I want you to get crystal clear on what your values are, your goals, your mission, because I see you as the CEO of your family life. You are leading this group of people, this home. Even if it's one child and you are leading this unit into the future. You set the tone. Not only by creating an amazing atmosphere, by having, wonderful cuddly bedtimes and time in nature and tech-free time and time around the table together in deep conversation. And yes, I teach you all of those things inside the studio, so don't worry. But also by giving active guidance. Yoda and Dumbledore, they don't constantly lecture, right? They're not constantly criticizing and nitpicking. They're not punishing. They're not threatening. They're not bribing. But rather, in very careful and measured ways, they're dropping wisdom bombs just here and there. And they're giving active guidance. They're not just role models. They're not passive. They're not just hoping that their mentees emulate them by osmosis. They're also being active in the process and giving them life advice. Modern parents today are so nervous to give their children any life advice. Life advice about dating, about romance, about friendships, about schoolwork, about career choices, even about health and wellness. We feel worried that it will come off as judgy or as shaming. But the truth is that our children are desperate for our advice. And if you create that vacuum, if you don't offer it, if you're just passive, TikTok, influencers, celebrities, culture at large will swoop in and fill the void for you. If you don't become their trusted source of information, create an inspiring culture, and actively offer them guidance and tailored advice, then Kim Kardashian will happily do that for you. Your child will find someone to follow. It just won't be you. And that is a hard pill to swallow. It's a tough truth, but it is tough love that I'm giving you because I want you to step into that role. Parents are not just glorified babysitters and chauffeurs. We're not just here to shuffle our children around and make sure they wear their seatbelts and eat their greens. We're also here to offer them a moral compass, life advice, a pathway forward towards a meaningful and productive life. And yes, that does involve some judgment and discernment. It does involve saying that this behavior isn't healthy or isn't kind or doesn't align with our belief system. It does actually involve articulating expectations of your children, not just academic, not just social, like be kind, but also about their life choices. Choices that you might think you have no business in, but let me tell you, it's exactly your business. That is exactly where you should be guiding them. That is what parents are for. We are the elders of the tribe. We're the ones with the wisdom, with the life experience, with the fully developed prefrontal cortex. We're the ones who our children should be looking to for guidance and next steps. And that means that if you believe that wearing hot pants is not in your child's best interest or doesn't align with your values or seems unhealthy or unwise to you, then you are not only well within your rights, but it is actually your duty and obligation to say so. And you say so with warmth and with support and with a lot of clarity and conviction. Now, I said that I know you already do this. And how do I know? Because I bet there are some things in your parenting that you have been a little bit countercultural about, that you have set boundaries about, that you have been clear with, that you have followed through on with consistency because they were important to you, because you knew what you thought. Like, for example, one of my students is really clear that no added sugar is going to be brought into her house. She doesn't want her children eating processed foods with too much sugar because she believes very strongly that that leads to bad health results. And so she is strong on that. It doesn't matter if her kids whine and complain or say everyone else has it. It doesn't matter if other people think that she's being a bit judgy or a bit snooty. It doesn't really matter what other people think or even what her children think, it's because she knows what she thinks. And so she's able to follow through with it. It kind of reminds me of the common phrase, if you stand for nothing, then you fall for everything. It means that if we parents don't take a stand on particular values and offer them active guidance and high expectations, then our children are going to be morally adrift. They're going to be confused. They're not going to know right from wrong. Now, sugar is an easy example because it's about physical health, but this goes for things about their mental health, about their emotional well-being, about their moral health as well, things that you think lead to a better life. Maybe you limit screen times because that is something that you really stand for with strength. Or maybe for you, it's about being consistent with going to church and transferring your faith and your belief. Maybe for you, it's about academic achievement and the importance of study and learning. Whatever your values are, they're yours. But what's important here is that you transmit them to your children. That is actually what parenting is about. It's about transmitting values. It's about giving children a pathway forward, a sense of belonging, and a way to lead a life that is meaningful, productive, and healthy. So this mother with the girl in the hot pants, she was able to say to her, this isn't about shaming your body. You look absolutely gorgeous no matter what you wear. And I know other girls wear this all the time. I can see how fun and cute it is. The thing is, I worry that if you wear this, it's going to cause people to look at you in a different way. And it makes private parts of your body public. And I don't think that's good for you or for society. So I would rather that you wear something longer. Let's go and pick something out together. Now, she was able to say this and it landed really well with her daughter. Why? Not because her daughter wasn't disappointed. She wanted the hot pants, but because of step number 1 and number 2. Step number 1, she had already built trust. She was a trusted guide, and her daughter saw her as someone who wasn't going to BS her, wasn't trying to control her, wasn't oppressive, wasn't a liar. So when she says this, even if her daughter can't quite see what her mom means, she can believe her. She can put her faith in her and know that she has her best interests at heart. And number 2, she had created a sense of belonging in a strong family culture. This family goes out on hikes together. They have meaningful, in-depth conversations and debates. They actually have an incredible sense of teamwork where they clean the house together, they manage chores together. And so when a parent in that situation asks you to abide by a certain rule and sets that rule down firmly but warmly, a child is much more likely to say, okay, I'll give you this one. I'll just trust you on this. And children need that level of active guidance because passively role modeling and creating a great culture will only take us so far when it comes up against the more sticky stuff that our culture throws our way. So remember, The foundation is trust. When children trust you, they know that they should come to you looking for answers, not TikTok or the school bus. Number two, the atmosphere, an inspiring culture. When your family culture is strong, kids don't go looking for belonging elsewhere. And number three, the leadership, active guidance. The truth is that kids don't rebel against limits. They rebel against unclear, fearful, or inconsistent ones. Now, this is really important to understand. So if you're multitasking, come back to me here. The way that your active guidance, your rules, your boundaries, your consequences, your follow through actually lands for your child is because of your conviction. You've had this experience before, like I said, with limiting screen times or sugar or strong bedtimes or whatever it was that you enforced with clarity and with conviction. That when you actually do it in a no-nonsense way, when it becomes non-negotiable, when you're in that strong leadership energy, then there's very little rebellion and pushback. In my family, for example, we never use screens on the weekends. We take a tech Sabbath every single weekend, and that means that none of us, adults and children included, use screens. And the interesting thing is, I've never had any pushback from my children. They've never begged or whined or demanded for screens during that time because it's a non-negotiable. It's an established fact. It's something that is absolutely set in stone, rock solid, and they don't need to test that boundary. The reason that so many teenagers rebel is actually because they feel insecure in the boundaries that we're setting. But when you have had the experience of setting a boundary with conviction and clarity, you know that there's much less room for rebellion. When teenagers feel unsafe, like the authority in the house is inconsistent, like you're doubtful, like you're second guessing, like you're always entering into cycles of negotiation and give and take, it becomes this really uncomfortable situation for the teenager where they don't really know where they stand. Am I a child or am I an adult? Am I able to bend the rules and twist and manipulate things to my benefit? Or is there a rock solid, strong foundation to this household? Kids, tweens, and teens want to feel held in place. They want to feel that there is an adult in the room, and that adult is you. The modern day way of parenting, where we get a little bit apologetic or uncomfortable with our authority because we don't want to be perceived as authoritarian or judgmental or forceful or unempathic, means that we actually rob our children of a sense of security, that they know what's what in this household, that the rules are consistent, that there is follow through, that there are consequences, that they know where they stand and they can just feel safe in that environment. The truth is that children crave stability. They crave leadership. And many modern day parenting gurus kind of position our children as if they are, older and wiser than us. Like we should just follow them, whatever they want, whatever their preference is, let them just discover themselves. But their brains are literally in development. They have zero life experience. They have zero liability and legal ramifications. They don't have a fully developed prefrontal cortex. And truthfully, that kind of responsibility is just too much to put on their little shoulders. It's unfair. That is the role of the parent, and we mustn't abdicate that role. The parent needs to set the rules, set the tone, create an atmosphere of belonging and a lot of trust, but also come down firm on your rules and expectations. And there is zero reason that you should be clear that they have to put on a seatbelt, no questions asked, no exceptions to the rule, but you can't be clear on your rules about social media usage or dressing a little bit more modestly or being alone with boys in their bedroom. Those are the types of things that parents ask me about all the time. And I think, well, if you were clear that the seatbelt was a good life choice for them, that is something you're going to enforce and take responsibility for, then adopt that same level of clarity and conviction about other rules that you have in your house as your teenagers grow up. Leave them some room for experimentation and being an individual. Of course, you don't have to be a tyrant and you must not be. That's why we said first build trust and first build an incredible family culture that they want to emulate, that they enjoy. But then also be comfortable with yourself as an authority. Be a leader. They need a leader. And when we step down, step back, when we're inconsistent, doubtful, second guessing ourselves, and passive, they will find that leader and it will be in the worst places. This is how teenagers often become really vulnerable to bad ideologies, to cults, to falling prey to all sorts of predators. And I know that sounds scary. I'm not trying to fearmonger you, but it's just the truth. I've seen this happen time and time again. The teenagers who don't have a strong leadership from home, and this is even true for tweens and kids, seek it elsewhere and often in the worst possible places because those kind of predators and groomers, they actually prey on weak kids who come from weak homes, who don't have the strong family culture and that sense of belonging and a trusting relationship with their parents. And that's why it's so critical for you to build those for your child starting today. Now, if all of this has made total sense to you and you are ready to take the next step, go to highfam.com/studio and sign up for the studio. The studio is an annual membership with a full leadership curriculum. You will learn exactly all the steps that you need to take piece by piece, month by month, to become the leader that will lead your child with trust, with an inspiring family culture, and with active guidance to be their moral compass and their life guide.
In Avital, I found the mentor that I was looking for. She's giving amazing advice about anything that's family related. And in the membership, she's touching every point of family life, relationships with the kids and parenting and with the spouse and even with extended family and friends. Family culture, family vision, all of these things are things that we need to have a balanced, beautiful, blissful family life. And she is teaching all of it in an amazing way.
You will also have an incredible community. Honestly, the parents that we have inside the studio are the most incredible people from all over the world, and they pool their wisdom with a wonderful in-app feed where we can ask each other questions and bounce ideas off each other.
It was so amazing to be part of this community that I thought, I'm never leaving. The only thing you're going to get from this membership and this community is encouragement and support and just love from everyone, really. It's amazing.
You also engage in a different way because you're part of this community, which is also like such a big thing. And you see other parents going through the same things and you learn from them also. So you learn from Avital, you learn from other parents.
I love the community almost as much as I love the content. I mean, it's a wonderful place and it's a safe place to talk about these things and not to be judged, and a wonderful source of experience. And then also just a place where you can talk about your struggles and people are going to understand because they're in the same boat.
This is the type of place that is drama-free, it's guilt-free, it's there to support you. It's there to help you on your parenting journey. And because you pay for the app, you actually have 0 ads and 0 distractions. We're not trying to monopolize your brain. We're not trying to sell your information. We're not trying to grab your attention and keep you there. We just want to help you on this one mission, which is to create a strong family culture. You'll also have regular coaching with me so that your personal, unique, individual questions will get answered. And finally, you're going to take on an active project every single season. You're going to start new family habits like having regular screen-free family meals or getting out in nature or refreshing your entire family library to reflect your family values. We're going to help you get clear on what that vision is, on what those values are, and then actually implement it through pragmatic, practical, totally doable projects that are going to lead you feeling great. And we even have projects to help you up level and glow up yourself, like the Glow Up Project, where moms can start to really invest in their self-care and feel like they are putting their best foot forward by showing up in the morning. Or like the Fit Fam Project, where as a family, you take on getting fitter and introducing more movement into your day. The Meal Plan Project helps you get more organized. We have home projects like the Declutter, the House Shred, or the High Vibe Home projects that help you to really make your home a beautiful place that you love to hang out in, all on a really low budget. We address sleep, we address nutrition, we address schedule, we address the whole package of your family culture. And it's all a blend of scientifically proven, evidence-based research and ancient wisdom and common sense. We have members from all walks of life, from all the major religions, blended families, homeschooling families, families with an only child, families with 10 kids. There is everything in there, but we are all united by a single mission, which is to create a strong family culture. And if that sounds good to you, make sure you're heading over there right now, because to be honest, we only open once a year and the price that is on offer right now will never be coming back. So this is your opportunity to lock it in for life and make sure that you are getting the coaching, the content, the community that you really do need in order to create that culture, because none of us can do this on our own. There's a reason they say it takes a village to raise a child, because this is really just a very difficult thing to establish without that guidance and without that leadership, which I can give you. The studio has been running for years, and we have so many incredible stories and testimonials of people who are able to completely transform their family life, to go from chaos to confidence and clarity and conviction. And from moms who felt like they were sure they were just missing something or like they weren't good enough, to stepping into their leadership role with confidence and clarity. And as a thank you for being here with me today and staying till the end, I would love to give you a beautiful PDF guide to go as a complement with this masterclass. I'll also be opening my calendar to a few coaching calls this month. And if you feel like, you know what, I have a follow-up question, I really want to get Avital's best brain cells on this, I invite you to sign up. I would love to coach you personally and offer you any help and guidance I can in building a strong family culture. Even if you know you're not signing up for the studio this year, it's just not for you yet, that's fine. I still want to get you these results. So I hope that this masterclass has helped you, that the PDF will help you. And all you need to do is over on Instagram, make sure to DM me with the word leader. Just send me the word leader, telling me that you are ready to become the leader that your family needs and deserves. I will send you the PDF and the opportunity to be coached by me as long as that is still available. But if you're sure you are ready and you want to dive right in, you are ready to get these results for your family and for your children's future, then go to highfam.com/studio. Can't wait to welcome you in. See you on the inside.